Peace and love to the family. Corbin reporting here live. Much love. First and foremost, before I start, I want to give a major shout out to my elite, enlightened ones. For my subscribers, especially my new ones, I want to thank y'all for supporting this channel. Listen, y'all are the ones that's going to make this channel as big as it's going to be. Bringing people to the enlightenment, letting them understand that they do have a choice to think for themselves. They do have a choice to explore and not just be focused on just one window and one book. So, if you guys see my post, thank you for watching, for liking, and for viewing. The subject of this evening is about Dr. Yakub, who was a black scientist who we have to at least say over 70, 80,000 years ago existed. And the question is, family, the question is, now me, you, a lot of us have heard many people say the white man is the devil. The white man is the devil. My question, if the white man is the devil, who created the white man? And what does that make him? So, without wasting your time, I believe we have 40 minutes. It might be 40 or 48. If it's 48, that's great. 40 is good as well. I want to dive right into who Dr. Yakub, and that's Yakub, because if you know and if you're familiar with my channel, you know I always encourage you to grab a pen and a paper. Don't just go off what I say. Don't just go off what anybody say. Do your own research. So, we're going with Dr. Yakub, and once again, that's Yakub. Dr. Yakub was a black scientist introduced to the public by Elijah Muhammad. And for y'all who don't know who Elijah Muhammad is, the great prophet Elijah Muhammad, do your research on him. We can say founder, we can also say co-founder with Fahar Muhammad, other Nation of Islam. So major respect to my brothers that's in that set. Major respect to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan that inspired me when I was young. Yakub is a black scientist introduced to the public by Elijah Muhammad, told of his history as being the father of mankind, or the maker of the white race. This teaching proved to be one of the most explosive within the Nation of Islam's theological and mathematical doctrine. Thought to be a myth, especially among those who gravitated towards Orthodox Islam, which, by the way, doesn't accept Elijah Muhammad's as being authentic. Excuse me, let me bring that back. The Nation of Islam, it doesn't approve of the Dr. Yakub, theory does not go well with the theological and mathematical doctrine of the Nation of Islam. It is thought to be a myth, especially among those who gravitate towards the Orthodox Islam, which, by the way, does not accept Elijah Muhammad as being authentic. Now, I want you to do your work on the Prophet Elijah Muhammad. Know what he brought to the table of not just Islamic and Islams and Muslims everywhere, but to the history of America, the teachings and doctrines that the Prophet Elijah Muhammad brought, the esoteric teachings, as we'll go in further. So for my people who, I like to read it in the whole, I like to get an understanding, I like to go back sometimes so we can read and get and gather it all. So I'm just going to read from the top again. Thank you for bearing with me. Yakub was a black scientist introduced to the public by Elijah Muhammad, told of his history as being the father of mankind or the maker of the white race. This teaching proved to be one of the most explosive within the Nation of Islam's theological and mathematical doctrine. Thought to be a myth, especially among those who gravitated towards the Orthodox Islam, which, by the way, does not accept the Elijah Muhammad as being authentic. But since the cloning of sheep Dolly, you guys remember the Dolly sheep, and many years ago, when they were talking about the first sheep that they successfully cloned. Remember, that was what, late 90s, I do believe. For those who do know, well, they've been doing cloning, even on humans, successfully since 1945. Since 1945. Anywho, they did not see Elijah Muhammad's teachings as being authentic, but since the cloning of the sheep dolly and other organic species, the fact that Elijah Muhammad's attribute to this man can not be disconnected unless all suddenly agree that dolly never happened. What they're saying is you cannot easily discredit the prophet Elijah Muhammad. Now listen. As I go in deeper, we're going to break down who Jakub is. Excuse me, I meant Yakub, or is it Jacob? So if you understand, in Arabic, Jacob translated to Yakub. And you'll see who Yakub was in biblical terms. So I wrote down some little bit more. So let's keep on going. Thank you for watching, by the way. It's about to get good, don't you worry. Dr. Jonathan Pritchard, I do believe, estimate that the point in time when the genes of the Asian and European populations was altered was 6,600 years ago. The exact date that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that Mr. Yakub began his Patmos Island grafting process. And grafting is grafting, if y'all want to go in further what grafting is. The prestigious National Geographic Society has reported that scientists studying DNA have now confirmed that Europeans as a people are younger than we thought. The prestigious National Geographic Society has reported that scientists studying DNA have now confirmed that Europeans as a people are younger than we thought. Using this unbiased measure of genetic science, they point to the same birth date for the European as did the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Professor Alan Cooper, director of the Australian Centre for Ancient DNA at the University of Adelaide, analyzed that DNA from ancient skeletons and found that the DNA makeup of modern Europeans was established just 6,500 years ago. It is Mr. Muhammad who, in the face of much mockery and ridicule, taught that the white man first appeared 6,000 years ago on the island of Patmos, that is Patmos, or Pelan, Pelan, in the Aegean, and that's spelled Aegean, Aegean Sea, where they had been made by a 600-year process or selective breeding called grafting, under the command of a black scientist named Yakub. The 999,000 blacks who came to Yakub to the island were placed under a system of mating that was based on skin color, and where only lighter complexion babies were allowed to survive over the course of many generations. So that right there should answer the fact whether if the Nation of Islam said it was true or not. This is all words from the Nation of Islam, but we're going to go in deeper for the skeptics. And thank you for even watching. Now, when Malcolm X went to Mecca, when Malcolm X took the trip to Cairo, took the trip to Ghana, all over Africa, he noticed that, hold on now, there were white Muslims in Mecca. When he was down here in America with the Elijah Muhammad, the prophet Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was always taught that the white man was the devil. The white man was the devil. So when he went to Mecca, all he seen was white Muslims, and it confused him. He learned to build with those white Muslims from Mecca, from Africa. So when he came back, he had a whole different outlook on the Caucasian, the European, or the Caucasoid. So when Malcolm X came back from Mecca, he disclaimed that of the teachings of the Prophet Elijah Muhammad, which, out of respect, we never know. maybe the reason why the brother is no longer with us. But Brother Shabazz taught me so much. Major respect to you. But hold on now. After Prophet Elijah Muhammad, who brought this knowledge, after he died, after Malcolm X came back from Mecca and said, you know what? I don't believe. Not that he didn't believe in the teachings of Prophet Muhammad when it came to Yakub. He just went to Mecca, built a relationship with people who he found out wasn't that bad after all, or in that case, were amongst the people in Africa. Now, after he did that, and after the Prophet Elijah Muhammad passed away, his son Warf Deen, I hope I'm saying that right, Warf Deen Muhammad, he rejected the same teachings. He rejected the whole thing, the whole Yakub situation. He just rejected it. And what he did was he reinvented the Sunni Sunni movement. And this is the Prophet Muhammad's son. After the Prophet Elijah Muhammad passed away, his son also did away with his father's teachings and belief of Yakub. And look at the leaders. Look at the leaders who've been in our life. Look at the leaders who've been and gone in their life. And then look at their kids. A lot of them didn't carry on that tradition. Whether government or non-government assistant, they did not carry on that tradition of what their fathers, the path that their father has laid. But that's neither here or there. But hold on now. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan picked that same teaching back up when he took over the ministry. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan picked up the Yakub and carried on the Yakub tradition and the truth and the esoteric teachings. Till this day, the Nation of Islam, to answer the people question who said that the Nation of Islam said this is not true. No, it went through a series of leaders in the Nation of Islam, but now the great the great Honorable Louis Farrakhan still holds truth to the Yakub story. So we're going to go further into the Yakub story. And thank y'all for vibing with me on that. 2 phones. Shout out to Kevin Gates once again. So let's find out, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, who Yakub was. Let's tune in and see who Yakub was. Let me see how many minutes we got. We got 12 minutes, y'all. And I think it's got 48 minutes, so y'all good out there? Thank y'all for tuning in. You know how we do. Here we go. Yakub. And this is going in real deep. Matter of fact, I gotta make sure my light is bright on here. There we go, so I can really see. With the Corbin shades, I call these the LL Cool shades. The Corbin exclusives. You want your order, let me know. You can get the exclusive LL Cool shades, the Corbin shades. AKA the hater blockers as well. In the beliefs of the Nation of Islam, NOI, much respect to the NOI and the FOI, Yakub, sometimes spelled Yakub, Y-A-C-U-B, or Yakub, that's Y-A-Q-B, was a black scientist who lived 6,600 years ago and began the creation of the white race. He is said to have done this through a form of selective breeding referred to as grafting. Once again, that is G-R-F-T-I-N-G. While living on the island of Patmos, that's P-A-T-M-O-S, the Nation of Islam theology states that Yakub is the biblical Jacob. And I love to say this all the time from all my theologians and my Christian theologians, I never left the Bible. Let me say that again. The Nation of Islam theology states that Yakub is the biblical Jacob. And for y'all can go into who the biblical Jacob is on your own term, on your own time. All other branches of Islam, as well as Christianity and Judaism, reject these assertions. The story has caused disputes within the NOI during its history under its current leader, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. The NOI continues to assert that the story of Yakub is true, claiming that modern science is consistent with it, which we have read. So you're going to argue with the NOI, the Prophet Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Fahad Muhammad? You're going to argue with them because why? They're melanated brothers who did their work, and we can go in a little bit later before we run out of time. The story of Yakub, the story of Yakub originated the story of Yakub originated in the writings of Wallace, Fahard Muhammad. He is the teacher of the Prophet Elijah Muhammad. So the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is our great leader of the Nation of Islam. I'm not with the Nation of Islam, but he still is my great leader because I grew up as a kid watching the teachings of NOR, Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, Huey Newton, Bobby Seale. So this is in my DNA. But let's continue. The story of Yakub originated in the writings of Wallace Fahard Muhammad, the founder of the Nation of Islam. In his doctrinal Q&A pamphlet, Lost Found Muslim, that's Moslem, lesson number 2, it was developed by his successor Elijah Muhammad in several writings, most fully in a chapter entitled The Making of Devil in his book, Message to the Black Man in America. And I know a lot of y'all heard that book too. I gotta read that book too. I think I skimmed through it a little bit earlier in my life. Yakub is said to have been born in Mecca at the time when 30% of the original black people were dissatisfied. He was a member of the Meccan branch of tribe of Shabazz. Yakub acquired the nickname Big Head. And I'm trying to show you some pictures, but you already seen the pictures I showed you. That's what he looked like. The tribe of Yakub acquired the nickname Big Head because of his unusually large head and his arrogance. What did Kanye say? They say I'm big headed, and then what's that song? I can't remember. They say I'm bougie, I'm big headed. We're talking about how my dick head is, some shit like that. Respect to Kanye. Kanye got a lot of Yakub in him too. If we think about it, once we go in, shout out to Kanye. Meccan branch of the tribe of Shabazz. Yakub acquired the nickname Big Head because of his unusually large head and his arrogance. At the age of 6, he discovered the law of attraction. Now, a lot of y'all know what the law of attraction is. If you don't, Google it. Y'all heard of that book called The Secrets? Y'all heard of Tahuti? All right, then. The Emerald Tablet, the Philosopher's Stone? All right, then. Let's keep going. My tummy growls a little bit, too. You feel what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But because of his unusually large head and his arrogance, at the age of 6, he discovered the law of attraction and repulsion. Now, half of y'all don't know what it is. Google's your best friend. By playing with magnets made of steel. This insight led to a plan to create new people. He saw an unlike human being made to attract others who could, with a knowledge of tricks and lies. Listen to this because this is very important, because I might do a part 2. Let me know how y'all like this video. I might do a part 2. He saw an unlike human being made to attract others who could, with the knowledge of tricks and lies, rule the original black man. He didn't like himself. The people were calling him a big head. He didn't like his color. He didn't like being black. So with the knowledge he discovered, he wanted to trick his own people. And not only that, leave them captive. Here we go. With the knowledge of tricks and lies, he wanted to rule the original black man. By the age of 18, he had exhausted all knowledge in universities of Mecca. He then discovered that the original black man contained both a black germ. Listen, y'all, this is very important to why they're talking about black and brown and COVID-19. Know the signs of who you are. He then discovered that the original black man contained both a black germ and a brown germ, black and brown, with 59,9999. So 59,999 followers. He had that many followers. He took them and he went to the isle in the Aegean Sea called Pelin or Patmos, which Muhammad identifies with Patmos. Once there, he established a despotic, that's DESPOTIC, a despotic regime, and set about breeding out the black traits. Now listen, how much time I got? 19? This is real deep, family, because we know a lot of people in our family right now that hate the color of their skin. We got family in Africa that bleach their skin because they think being light is right. And there's a lot of people who get mad with the Kardashians, the mom and everything, because Oh, they're trying to get black and they're trying to take our black men. That's what y'all say, right? But listen, let's be real with yourself. Aren't y'all going to the hair stores and getting the blonde hair and the blue eyes? Trying to be white? That hit a nerve. I respect to y'all all the same. And he set about breeding out the black traits, kill all the darker babies, and create a brown race after 200 years. Yakub died at the age of 152, but his followers carried on his work. After 600 years of his deliberate eugenics, and for people who don't know what eugenics is, that's EUGENICS. The modern word for that is transhumanism. Transhumanism. Anyway, and the white race was created. After 600 years of the deliberate eugenics, after all this splicing or whatever you want to call it, bleaching or grafting, the white race was created. Now listen, people. Shout out to Justin that made a good point in my video on my post. Now listen, we call the white man devil. A lot of us already have the gnosis, the knowledge that the white man came from the black man. Since we are gods and goddesses, right? So of course, since they're a younger race, of course they're going to come for us. Look up a study of Stan Lee and see why Stan Lee did what he did on X-Men. On X-Men, Professor X was who? Martin Luther King. Magneto was Malcolm X. Let me say that again, family. In X-Men, Professor X was Martin Luther King. Magneto was Malcolm X. And you notice that even though they had war and their shit they opposed was different thoughts, they never fucked with each other, never came with each other's throats. They never came each other's throats. Is with a respect. But anyway, listen, we call the white man the devil and shit, right? But if these people who were originally black and got crafted to being white, what do you think? Don't you think you don't think they will be traumatized as well? And we're not making excuses with everything going on, but we're opening a bigger window now. We call them the white devil, right? But if they're the white devil, then who created the white man? So you see that at the end of the day, they were nothing more than black people who were grafted to be lighter tail. Successfully, this man who didn't like his own color because people made fun of his big ass head, which actually made him intelligent. He went and destroyed his own kind. So let's keep on going. Now listen to this. Now this is very serious, people. Listen to what it says. The brutal conditions, and this is what the Nation of Islam said. So all my Islamic brothers, all my Christians, there's no need to get upset. Do the research. This is what they're saying. This is based off their work. The brutal conditions of their creation, talking about the white race, talking about the white devil. Listen to this. The brutal conditions of their creation determined the evil nature. The brutal conditions of their creation determined the evil nature of the new race. Holy shit. The white man is evil. Do we ever ask why? No, we just say fuck the white man. And it's understandable because look what we went through as a black race. But listen, the white race creator was black. Listen to what it says. This is real shit. It's something for you to think about, family. It's something for me. I had to think about it. Let me read that again. The brutal conditions of their creation determine the evil nature of the new race. By lying to the black mother, our mother, the mother, listen, by lying to the black mother of the baby, this lie was born into very nature of the white baby. Let's go back to slavery days. Now, when the rich mom and dad, the white ones, the Europeans, they were too busy for their babies. What they did, they headed off to mama, nanny, Aunt your mama. And sometimes she would breastfeed her. You see the true nature of the white man with the black woman. It's a nurturing one. It always is. Let's read that one more time, family. The brutal conditions of their creation determine the evil nature of the new race. By lying to the black mother of the baby, this lie was born into the very nature of the white baby, and murder for the black people was also born in them, or made by nature a liar and murderer. The new race traveled to Mecca, where they caused so much trouble The new race traveled to Mecca where they caused so much trouble they were exiled to West Asia, Europe, and stripped of everything but the language. Once there, they were roped in to keep them out of paradise. The soldiers patrolled the border armed with swords to prevent the devils from crossing. For many centuries, they lived a barbaric life. This is true. You know this about the Europeans. Surviving naked in caves and eating raw meat. But eventually, they were drawn out of the caves by Moses. Holy shit. We haven't left the Bible. I ain't got time for all this. Let's go. But eventually, they were drawn out the caves by Moses, who taught them to wear clothes. Moses tries to civilize them, but eventually gave up and blew up 30 of the most troublesome blew up 300 of the most troublesome of them with dynamite. Did you know that? However, they had learned to use trigonometry. And family, I don't care how much time I got. I think it says 48. Before I leave here, we're going to look up what trigonometry is. This is very important to the black race, to all races. Let's continue to go. So when I get about to 35, y'all let me know too. When I get about to 35, I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and we're going to go to trigonometry no matter where I'm at, because you can do the research yourself. However, they have learned to use trickology to usurp power and enslave the black population. Let me say it again. However, they have learned to use trickology to usurp power and enslave the black population. Bringing the first slaves to America, that's what they did. According to the autobiography of Malcolm X, all the races other than the black race was byproducts of Yakub, spelled Yakub in the biography work, as the red, yellow, and brown races were created during the bleaching process. However, the black race included Asian peoples considered to be shared ancestors of the Moors. Whites were defined as Europeans. Elijah Muhammad also asserted that some of the new white race tried to graft themselves back into the black nation. They were like, man, fuck this. I want to go back to black. But they had nothing to go by. As a result, they became guerrillas. And you know that the intelligence of a gorilla and really human brain is not that far off. You know that. Elijah Muhammad also asserted that some of the new white race tried to graft themselves back into black nations, but they had nothing to go by. As a result, they became guerrillas. A few were lucky enough to make a start and go as far as what you call the gorilla. In fact, all the monkey family are from the 2,000-year history of the white race in Europe. And then if we want to, we can go to the Yakub and Jakub, I guess, comparisons. Now, let's go on this. So, you know, a lot of people don't... The name Yakub is the Arabic variant of the name of the biblical patriarch known as Jacob in English language version of the Bible, and as Yakub in biblical Hebrew. Fahar Muhammad Yakub has some parallels to the biblical Jacob's role as the father of the tribes. Excuse me, let me read that again, because you know I want to make sure you guys get this. Fahar Muhammad Yakub has some parallels to the biblical Jacob's role as the father of the tribes of Israel. The idea that the Jews were an artificial race created by interbreeding and dependent on tricks and lies already existed in anti-Semitic theories of the time. The story of Yakub includes Jews as part of a wider, artificial created white race. The NOI claim that Jacob altered the skin color of a specific group of humans through selective breeding. In a similar story in Genesis 30, chapter 30, verses 37 through 43, where Jacob alters the fur color of the goats and sheep in his uncle's Laban's flock. This story could be the origin of the NOI story of Yakub. One major difference in that while the NOI says that Yakub employed selective breeding, Jacob used sympathetic magic in the Old Testament. Oh, we're not even going to go there. That's a whole nother one. See what time we on. In speeches by Malcolm X, Yakub is identified completely with Jacob, referring to the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel. Malcolm X states that Elijah Muhammad told him that Jacob was Yakub and the angel that Jacob wrestled with wasn't God. It was the government of the day. This was because Jakub was seeking funds for his expedition to Patmos. So when it says Jacob wrestled with an angel, angel is only used as a symbol to hide the only, Jacob wrestled with the angel. Angel is only used as a symbol to hide the one he was really wrestling with. However, Malcolm X also states that John of Patmos was also Yakub, and the book of Revelations referred to his deeds. John was Yakub. John was out there getting ready to make a new race, he said, for the Lord. John was out there getting ready to make a new race, he said, for the word of the Lord. Now, you guys can do the rest. I want to do history. And thank y'all for watching. And for, you know what, listen, I got a little bit of time. I'm going to give y'all a picture of Yakub right quick so you can see what Yakub looked like. He had a big-ass head. It is what it is. Brother had a big-ass head. It is what it is. Here you go. Here's a picture of him. Animated picture, but, you know, you can get the idea as well. He hated his color. He hated being black. He hated the fact that his own people called him a big-ass, look, you big-ass head, all that intelligence with a big-ass head, still big-ass head. So he hated his own color. Don't you know people that hated their own color, hate the way they look? Excuse me, I'm trying to get the Wi-Fi, whatnot, going, whatnot. And, even if I have to step outside, we have to take a little walk, I'll get this thing going. Here we go. Hold up, it just happened. I just got it and it just dipped on me. Here we go. I'm gonna try. Here we go. Here's a picture of him. Can you see him? Yeah. See that big ass head he had? Respect to Yakub. You feel what I'm saying? You can't say nothing about Yakub. This is the man that created the white race. For my Caucasians out there who always talk shit about the white man, about the black man. The black man ain't this. This is the man that created y'all through grafting. Y'all see that? This is his followers. You see that? So how much time I got left for y'all? I got 31. I said 35, so I'm going to give y'all an early treat. Let's go to trickology. And I want y'all to find out what trickology was, because this is crazy as shit. I want y'all to find out what trickology. I'm going to spell that for you in a minute. Let me get to this right quick. Here we go. Trickology. Look this up. You got your pen and pad? I ain't got my music on, so I'm going to take me a Kool-Aid drink. I got the water. And I can't remember what brand it is, but man, they got a little powder shit you put in here with the water. This shit tastes just like Big Mama Kool-Aid. I'm not lying. Snapple facts. You can actually time travel with this. People talk about magic and whatnot. Trust me. This can be your magic. You sick? Let this be your medicine. Use the imagination. So let's go in what trickology is. And that's spelled Tricknology. You know, ology is the study of. And remember when we was reading on Yakub a while ago, it said that his followers, even after he died, he manipulated the tribe and manipulated Moses through tricks and lies. So we're about to find out what trickology is. Just briefly. I'm not going to hold too much of your time up. Because soon it's about to go in part 2, so if this shit goes on part 2 before I know it, or if you see me going in,